Meet Eugene as he talks about lucid dreaming.
Right. I actually, my whole childhood, that is actually probably all the way till I was somewhere in my 20s, most of the dreaming I did, I became aware of the fact that I was dreaming in the dream. And that was just the standard for me. I didn't actually know that people were so gullible that they would not realize that they're dreaming whilst they're dreaming. And so I kind of thought that everyone was aware that when they're dreaming, they're dreaming. But later I've learned that it's a very rare thing for people to have as their standard form of dreaming, to be lucid dreaming without any effort whatsoever. And basically for me, it was just so easy to notice in the dream that it was a dream, and that in fact it's just it was a absurd reality there that was happening. And upon realization, which happened very quickly, I then was able to take control of the dream and do whatever I want, which usually involved me flying somewhere and or materializing whatever toy I wanted. So there was this period of time where I really wanted an AK-47, and so every time I dreamt, I would materialize it in my hand, and I would just simply then come up with a way to voluntarily wake up with it still holding. So the whole dilemma was, I'm holding this AK-47, it's solid, I'm holding it, it's got momentum, it's got inertia, it's solid, and I'm holding it as tightly as I can. And then in the dream, I consciously wake up, because I also had the choice, I was in total control of it. And I would just experiment with if I could hold on to it tight enough that it wouldn't disappear when I transitioned to this dream. And so basically I would I remember I was just clutching at it as much as I could, and then as soon as I woke up, it would just, my fingers would literally be and go through it. So then I would go back to sleep again, go back to that same dream, rematerialize the AK-47, and this time clutch it even harder and just be fully I'm not letting go of this thing. And then as soon as I'd transition to waking, it would just again, my hands would just be like that. And then I thought, how can I do this? How can I take this AK-47 from this dream into this dream, that being this dream that nobody seems to notice as a dream, and how do I do that? And so I was thinking, all right, so what I'll do this time, I'll stare at it. So I'll watch it, and it couldn't possibly be that it just dematerializes in front of me. So I held it really tight and I looked at it and I was watching it, and then I chose to wake up, and still it literally just dematerialized in my hands. And so then I remember I put it into something, because I thought maybe I could somehow take it from one dream to the other by putting it into something. And so I wrapped it up in my, in that dream I materialized a pillowcase, because I knew I had a pillowcase that I was sleeping on. And so I thought, all right, I'll wrap it up in this pillowcase, and I'll hold on to it so tight, I'll just hug it so that there's no way, and it's inside the pillowcase, so how can it disappear? And then again, every time, and I tried this for so long, because I must have been years that I was trying to smuggle this AK-47 out of the dream. All of it unsuccessful. But that's in the context that I grew up with my dad having weapons all around the house. So I grew up, I think the first time that I shot a military gun was at the age of 3 or 4 or when I could barely hold it, right? And so this isn't something unusual. I just wanted this particular AK-47 as opposed to all the guns that Dad had, because they were mostly pistols and handguns, whereas I wanted this assault rifle. And there was all sorts of other adventures I had in the dreams. I also enjoyed doing this thing, which I was surprised to see that most people can't do, which is that I'd happily go and continue the dream from the last dream. So I did this not just on and off, like once a lifetime or a couple of times. This was just a normal thing that I would wake up from a dream, go and, have other thoughts, and then consciously like resume that dream from where that one ended and continue it for like many days or whatever, or many times to do that. And some of them I went back to a lot of times, because having that autonomy to dream, to continue a dream, I was able to then kind of live out and make sure that it continues in a certain way, as opposed to the normal person who's completely lost in the dream and completely like unable to guide where it goes. I was able to do that in those dreams, and I think that it's to a certain degree possible in this dream to do that, but it's just a lot harder to do that. But I'm definitely seeing signs that one can change things here in this illusion of in this dream, but it's not quite the same and not as easy as in the lucid dreaming of that dream. Then I had another. Then I heard about the possibility of not just lucid dreaming, not just when you wake up, because in lucid dreaming, you realize it's a dream, but if somebody asks you in that dream, you're not actually cognizant of what you are out of that dream, right? So you forget, you can't remember. Like when I was in those dreams, in those lucid dreams, and I would think about what I am in the not dream, because I was aware that it was a dream and that there was a state in which I was not in that dream, that people call being awake. I would then not know who I was. So I'd think about it and I'd go, oh, I think I'm this. And then I'd wake up, like then I'd go to consciously waking up in the lucid dream and realize, no, I completely got it wrong. And I never got it right. Every time I tried to remember, every time I thought about who I was in real life, in this dream, in my dreams, I couldn't ever remember. It was just like this puzzle of like, I don't know if you can imagine, because I thought everyone did this, but it's obviously not. But basically, so you're there, you realize it's a dream, and then you ask yourself, so if this is a dream, what am I actually when I'm not dreaming? Like, what's that like? What am I? And I'd have several hypotheses that I would envision of what I was like when I wasn't dreaming, but then I'd think, all right, let's wake up and test, like compare what I think I was to what I was, and it was always completely different. It was always some totally different type of thing that I thought I was in the dream. But so I came up with the idea of, well, what if I could actually realize in the dream what I actually am, and fully be in the reality of the actual reality of this dream that people call reality, that I call reality, and the apparent people call reality. And so what I did is I set upon doing that, which was kind of a task, took me a few months actually to achieve, where I was able to realize who I actually am in this reality. And what happens then is something really amazing, just like that amazing transition from the dream being something that you feel you're not in control of, to suddenly realizing this is a dream and being in total control. Well, and that magic of that, there's another bit of magic, even more magical really, that happens as soon as you realize who you actually are in the dream. Then what happens at that point, when you actually get the real you, like when you actually are able to like focus on it enough that you actually realize, I'm sleeping in this bed, I'm there at this time, and you actually know exactly where you are, exactly what time it is, exactly everything, as if you were awake but you're asleep. Whereas, as opposed to lucid dreaming, where you realize you're asleep but you're not fully cognizant of what you are when you're not asleep. And so what happens is fascinating, that upon that realization, you instantly awake, you instantly wake up, but your body doesn't wake up. So it's this fascinating thing. So you suddenly find yourself totally aware of everything, and you can see everything and feel everything, but your body is totally asleep and it stays on the bed. And then you can actually roll out of your body and see yourself sleeping there, see the person next to you. It's all exactly the way it is in reality. Everything's the way it truly is. It's not that same way that I was saying where I have a theory and then I wake up and it's totally different. This is totally like everything's exactly like it is. And then you can go through walls and through everything. You can fly around and you can confirm yourself the authenticity of this experience, that you can actually see things that you don't know exist and describe them and see them and then go back and wake up and check them, and they will actually be the way that you saw them, as opposed to the way that you didn't know they were or that you thought they were in another way. With me, it was like I really wanted to see what it's like going through glass, because I figured going through glass would really show that I'm not actually physical in that way. And so I did go through glass, and I watched the glass, and I went really slowly just to kind of make that transition really clear as I was going through the plane of glass. And I watched the glass, and I was waiting to see if there's any resistance whatsoever going through the glass, but there was none. And it was really interesting seeing the glass pass through the glass. Then I went up, and I flew up, and I looked down upon the building that I was in, and I saw the configuration of the canopies of the trees over the roof. And then I was flying around, and I got so excited that I inadvertently woke up, because I just got so excited about how amazing it was. And that when you become too excited, you wake up. And so that is, my body wakes up, and you just automatically fall back into your body. So I woke up, and I checked, because I was quite certain that what I saw wasn't actually the way it was in reality in this dream. But because I never knew that there was two big trees that were obscuring the view from that perspective of me being up above my sky roof. But then I checked, and it was exactly the way I saw it, rather than the way that I was quite convinced that it was. If you had asked me before that, if you had asked me before this experience what a perspective would be from a bird's eye view of the roof of the dwelling that I was in, I would definitely say that it would be almost all clear, and maybe have one canopy taking up maybe 1/10 of the surface area. I definitely didn't think that it was two canopies taking over maybe 80% of the surface area. That definitely was completely inverse of what I thought it was. And so that really showed me how my total awareness of reality, of the actual waking reality, and the fact that I saw something that I was quite convinced didn't exist, but actually was precisely the way I saw it, those two things really confirmed to me the authenticity of this experience, and therefore showing me very much like that this very life itself is a dream, and that was my sort of lucid dreaming in this dream, what I just described. Anyway, so that's my experience with that.